All right, this is Unit 7, Day 10. This is the second part where we are now finding angle measures from the unit circle. Okay, so now we're trying to find angles and we want this to be in radians. Okay, so we need it to be in radians. Means pi's got to be in there. Okay, all right, so we still have to use our restrictions. We still have to use those restrictions in the graphic organizer. Keep it out on your desk, but the answer should be in radians. Okay? So the first thing we're going to figure out is what angle. This is how we ask. What angle has a sine of 1/2? Okay? What angle, I'm going to write it up here first. What angle has a sine of 1/2? That's what it says, positive 1/2. So I'm going to go to my unit circle and I'm going to look. Remember, the restrictions say sine has to be in quadrant 1, and quadrant 4. So when I look at my points, sine of 1/2 is pi over 6. Sine in the fourth quadrant is negative, so that doesn't work. So the answer to this is pi over 6. Okay, we're wanting radians, we're not wanting degrees. Okay, all right, let's look at tangent. So what angle has a tangent of 1? Now, we have to be careful here, okay, because when we're thinking of tangent, okay, when we're thinking of tangent, we're dividing. Okay, so we're dividing something over something else. Like it could be 1/2 divided by 1/2. Well, that won't work because neither sine nor cosine are both 1/2. The only one that it's possible to get this is square root of 2 over 2. Okay, so let me erase. So the only thing that could work is square root of 2 over 2 divided by square root of 2 over 2, or they could both be negative. Okay? So let's go back and look at our unit circle. Now remember, tangent is this. It can be quadrant 1 and quadrant 4. So let me go look at our unit circle. In quadrant 1, square root of 2 over 2 and square root of this works because it's a positive divided by a positive, which gives you a 1. So that works. So pi over 4 could be one of them. If we're here, it would be negative 1. If we're down here looking at 315 degrees, if we divided these two, we would have negative 1, which is not the problem. Okay? So in order to get a 1, we would have to do 45 degrees or pi over 4. That one does work. It is in the first quadrant. Okay? Now, let's look at number 7. What angle, now remember, we're talking first or second quadrant, and we can include pi over 2 and negative pi over 2, has a sine of negative square root of 2 over 2. All right, let's go to our unit circle. And negative square root of 2 is here, but we're not going to call it 7 pi over 4. Okay, that's if we're going from 3 pi over 2 up to 360 or 2 pi. This time we're going to call it negative pi over 4 because we're either going to be decreasing to negative pi over 2 or increasing to pi over 2. Okay, so we're going to call it negative pi over 4. So let me come back up here, and this would be negative pi over 4. All righty, now you can kind of check this a little bit. I'll explain that to you in class, but let's move on to 8 and we'll get back to that. All right, cosine. What angle has a cosine of negative square root of 3 over 2? Now remember, we can only use quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 for this one. So I'm going to the unit circle. Here we are. Which one of these has a negative square root of 3 over 2 as a cosine? It's not in the first quadrant, so it is in the second quadrant. Right here is 5 pi over 6 is my answer. So let me go back here and put 5 pi over 6. All right, problem 9, tangent. Remember, tangent is 3 and 4. Now, what angle has a tangent of square root of 3 over 3? All right, let's go check it out. Let me go back to our unit circle. Let me see, was it negative? It's positive, so it can be in the first quadrant. Well, it will be in the first quadrant. So let me go back. Come on, you can go back. There we go. So which one of these, when we divide sine over cosine, square root of 3 divided by 1/2, that is not going to give us the square root of 3 over 3, but this one, which is 1/2 divided by the square root of 3 over 2, will give you the square root of 3 over 3. So 30 degrees, so pi over 6. All right, let me go back here and type in pi over 6. All right, cosine, what angle? Cosine of 0. Okay, in order for that to happen, let's go look at our mini circle. So we can only use the top. So this would be 1 over 0. This would be as a tangent would be undefined. And we might need to go through these first. Over here, it's 0 over negative 1. Okay, this one is 0 over negative 1, which equals 0. So pi works. And because in cosine the restriction includes 0 and pi, we get an answer. So the answer to this one is pi. Okay. Hold on one second. Let me go back and look because I was thinking it said tan. I'm doing number 12 instead. Let's go back and look at cosine. No, cosine is -1 here. Cosine is 1 here. See, I was wrong. I was doing number 12 instead of the one we were working on. Cosine of 0 is up here, so it's really pi over 2. Hopefully I did not lose you on this one. This is pi over 2. Okay, because the cosine, when the cosine is 0, the angle is pi over 2. All right, let's look at this one. So what angle has a sine of -1? Now remember, sine includes pi over 2 and negative pi over 2. So let's go look at our unit circle. So when sine of -1 would be down here. Let's see, this is cosine, this is sine. Sine of -1 is negative pi over 2. It's not 3 pi over 2 in this case, it's negative pi over 2. And because this is included, it does count. So the answer to this one is negative pi over 2. All right, number 12 was the one I was doing before, and I apologize. In order for a tangent to have a 0, it would have to have, in this case, in the unit circle, a 0 over something in the denominator, which would either be a 1 or it could be 0 over -1. Remember, though, tangent are these two. can do pi over 2 or negative pi over 2. So let me go back to our mini circle. So the tangent, oops, went too far. Here we go. The tangent at 0 would be 0 over 1. Okay, remember sine over cosine. So let me erase this. I don't know why I wrote this. So it would be sine over cosine. So it would be 0 over 1, which is 0. That works. 0 degrees, okay? Or 0 pi. If we go all the way to over here, this would be 0 over negative 1, which is also 0, but in tangent, I can only use these two quadrants, okay? So the answer can only be 0. So let me come back here, and your answer is 0 pi, or 0, okay? All right, I'm going to let you kind of digest some of this. We'll go over it a lot in class, and I'm going to let you work the front page of the homework today to get good practice on part 1 and part 2 of day 10.